Hello, and welcome to another episode of Lo-Fi. This week I got a request from my mate Stuart in work. You might remember him from some other requests before. So this week he's asking for a Car Seat Headrest twin fantasy cover. So this doodle here. So clearly the challenge is the hand-drawn effect. It looks like it was drawn in pencil and then done with a marker over it. So it being a marker and a human hand, it's not all the same width. You can see there's rough parts here where maybe the line has been drawn more than once. And vector tools aren't famed for how smooth they can be. They are famed for that, where they'll be mathematically precise. So how do we get something that's not smooth? How do we get something that's rough? So luckily, as we've been learning, SVG on the web is often just as good or better than your design tool of choice. We can get a lot of things done with filters. So let's jump in and look at a little demo I've got going. Here we have just a straight line. It's just this path here. I've got it at funny angles just to show that there's nothing happening only horizontally or only vertically, that it's happening at different angles. For me it was easier to understand what was happening when I had a line like this. So we're going to show how to get that hand-drawn look, and then we're going to add in a little bit of animation as well. So let's jump into the hand-drawn look. We're going to use this filter. I got the basics of it from the MDN docs. I'll link those up in the show notes. I also got a lot of help from I'm gonna mess up her name here, but Sarah Soadine. I'll link it up. She's one of the two genius Sarahs in SVG, and her new tutorials on SVG filters are really useful, really easy to understand, really in depth. So I'll link those up. They're how I got to where I got to. So let's jump in. We have a simple straight line, but we want to add a filter. So let's do that first. So we just need to reference the ID of this filter. Let's copy it out. And we get nothing, because what we're doing is taking that line and putting it through this filter, but because we have no output yet, there's nothing to show. So let's get our turbulence going first. So this isn't showing up yet because I have no octaves. So the octaves kind of describe how complicated the turbulent image is going to be. Let's go put it up to 1 so you can see an example. So 1 has these reasonably large kind of bubbles. It looks like oil or something. So if we were to go up to 3, you can see that while the shapes are still there, there's a lot more going on. It's a much more detailed shape. So these are what we're going to use to distort our line. It's as if the line is lying over these, and as the white ridges are there, the line will go one direction, and as it gets darker, they'll go another. And we can change how large they are with the frequency. So if you make this 0.1, you can see it's a lot smaller, the shape, or it's as if we've zoomed out. We're getting much smaller detail going on. And if we go bigger again, you can see it's nearly blurry. There's not much filtering going on at all. So then we want to use this displacement map. So it's going to take in our turbulence and also take in our source graphic, which is our kind of tick-shaped line, and it's going to apply the turbulence to it at a scale of 1. So let's see what that looks like. Not a lot going on because 1 is very low. So let's turn it up to 10, the scale by which we're distorting it. now we can see we're getting this wobbly line. If we were to turn it up to 100, we've nearly obliterated it. It looks like ink all over the place. So if we bring it down to about 30, you start to see it's a little hand drawn. Some bits are thinner, some bits are thicker. For me, I'm happy with that as our marker effect. But then to make it look like it's being drawn by a hand, there's another little trick that I got from Chris Coyer on CSS Tricks, where he plays with the stroke dash array and the stroke dash offset. So we're going to look at this in the tools, and we're going to play with those two values. So what does stroke dash array do? This is taking, if we put it up to just 1, we get a dashed line. If we bring it to 2, the dash is at 2 pixels. You can see their little gaps appearing. And as we bring it up, you can see it's giving us 10 pixels of dash, 10 pixels of gap, 10 pixels of dash, 10 pixels of gap. So as we build that up, we're getting longer lines. What the offset then does is allows us to move those lines. So they're starting from up here at 0. So if we bring that up by 10, you'll see it's gone 10 that direction. So as we continue to bring these up, it's like they're crawling along. So what would happen if we extended our dash, where a dash is exactly the length of the line, if we leave this going up and up and up, so that we're at the end of the line, and now we start to move our offset, it's as if it's being undrawn, and then as we go back down, it's as if it's being drawn again. So what I'm going to do is take this value and set it for both of these so the line will disappear, and then pop in an animation that's going to set it to 0. So we're going to say animate, or animation, draw, 2 seconds and forwards. You can see it looks like our line is being drawn. So with the two of those in place and a pre-made SVG, aiming for this album cover, here's where I got to. A reasonable representation of it. Sure, it's not as perfectly hand-drawn, but it still looks a little hand-drawn, and if I refresh it, the picture draws itself. Now the performance isn't perfect there. I'm still new to the SVG stuff, so if anyone has any tips or tricks or clues to help me make this better, do share it and I'll try and bring this into another video. But I'm pretty happy with that. We wanted a hand-drawn effect, and here we have an SVG that's hand-drawn and looks like it's being drawn by hand. Thank you for watching Lo-Fi Codes. If you have any feedback or thoughts about this video, please leave a comment below. If you like what you saw, please subscribe for a new video every Friday, or check out another video here.